Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. I have to click that button. There you go. Hi. Here's my face. Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday. Normally Twitter or TikTok. Or I don't know. I don't have a name for Tuesdays yet. I can't remember what I had it for Tuesdays. I was going to make it Twitter Tuesdays because we're going to be Twitter, but I got too much other stuff to do. So we're going to talk about... I have the question of the day is... who are we rooting for and why? And why are we rooting for either of these, super corrupt nations? There's no good guys in this war. And I got to remind you, too, today, how we got here. Okay, there's a couple, very interesting how we got here. So that's it for my pre-intro. I came short and sweet because there's so much to talk about. Play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. All right, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Night Live. I think I messed up something there. Anyway, welcome to Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet, trying to send out my notifications on the social media apps. I got it out on Twitter, but the other ones are not cooperating with me. There, that one's working. All right. So anyway, no, I don't want to play my own show. Turn that off. There you go. It's Tuesday, the 1st of March, 2021. And I'm glad you're here. It's still going. There's certainly conflict in Eastern Europe with the two former Soviet powers. Of course, one is I don't know if you'd call it, I can't call them Soviet, but they still have a lot of power and influence in the world. And the other one seemed to suddenly have a whole bunch of friends in the world, or maybe people are just tired of wars. And so this new conflict is well, first of all, it gives our country something to talk about. And we don't want to talk about the economy, and we don't want to talk about the southern border, and we don't want to talk about a whole bunch of other things. Oh, but it's funny though. All of a sudden, COVID restrictions are just flying by the wayside, just in time for the State of the Union, so Joe Biden can say, "Well, all the things that we did to stop COVID and its tracks worked," as if people wouldn't have gotten vaccinated with the other guy as president. That's the only thing they really did other than piss people off in a lot of states. The states that did less restrictions did just as well as the states did have lots of restrictions. And it's just the whole strategy we're finding out as we go along probably didn't make any difference whatsoever. Great. We came up with some Fauci juices that worked in the short interim until people could just catch it anyway and get naturally acquired immunity, which suddenly they're also starting to recognize. They're starting to recognize that, oh, yeah, if you had that particular disease, you might have some resistance to that disease that lasts longer and is stronger than the Fauci juice and 17 boosters that we're starting to ask you to get. Although they're still testing boosters, the fourth boosters in some place, they still testing. Well, they pulled the FDA approval process for the juices for the young ones, under 5. For some reason they've halted that FDA process. We don't know why. Maybe just a glitch, who knows? But they've halted that, and then they've and then they're also changing some guidelines for giving the boosters to young men. there's all of a sudden some questions about that, but that's not really on my agenda for today. So I don't know why I'm talking so much about it, other than these are the things that we are going to hear about in the State of the Union today, because under the leadership of Joseph Rahim Biden, everything in the world is great. Oh, except for that war over there and the economy here and the inflation. Oh, but we've created millions of jobs. I'm sorry, we've sent people back to the jobs they already had for the most part. And we're right back where we were before stupid 19, which I can't imagine that wouldn't have happened to the guy with the funny hair. Although I think it would have happened faster, but that's just me. I do have my cup of reparations, and I am ready to go. But first, let's do what we do on the Morning Night Live. We say good morning to our friends in the chat. So good morning first to who's first in the chat was Avocados Diablo, who gets the bell. Thank you for being here, sir. Also, good morning to Ty Alexander. Select a boy is in the house.
Boy.
Haven't been able to do that for a little while. Good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg. Also, good morning to Aaron Meredith. Hello, Willett Forge. What's up? Kay Shell's in the house. Good morning, Jonathan Peterson. Good morning, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Also, good morning to Tyler F. and Rotten Corpse and Renee Mayette and Cool Frog. Good morning. This is just like Romper Room. Good morning, Nomad.
Stop. Hammer time.
I don't know why that's funny. I know you laugh when I do it too, because you know what that's about. And also, good morning, Somnambule Nation. Thank you to the people who've already tweeted out the show. As I look over here, I got some notifications. I got Willett Forge. Thank you for retweeting the show. Tyler F., thank you also. And I share the stream. Here's what we do here. We ask you to share the stream. We ask you to hit the like button. We ask you to, if you can, or donate every once in a while, or if you got something you really want to say, that little ringy belly thing, not ringy belly thing, but whatever, the stuff that pops up on the screen, that gets my attention, and then I read it, because I never know. It's hard to read the chat when I'm reading articles and stuff, but that'll get my attention. Yes, it will. And it also helps in the long run. Also, good morning, Jesse Leon. I see you here, my friend. Did I miss anybody? Yeah, no, I got everybody. So anyway, welcome to the show. If you're new or you're watching on replay, put a comment in the comment section and subscribe. Click the bell for notifications, or you can follow me on most social media at PDawgKnight. Same name on every social media platform. If I'm there, you'll find me. All right. So I told you, as this certain issue between the Russians and the Ukrainians began to pop off, and mostly pop off verbally and strategically, not necessarily troops moving into certain nations. Before that began to pop off, I told you I have not done a lot of research into the situation. I kind of, I know where Russia is, and I know where Ukraine is in respect to Russia, but really I didn't have a whole lot of experience with this, and I didn't know a whole lot. Well, I've been trying to learn more. Oh, Branding Monkey, you are on. Hang on a second. Let's go check something out. Let's see what Monkey's talking about. I don't know a whole lot. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. I didn't know a whole lot about it. Okay. I didn't know the geopolitics. I didn't know the whole situation. I don't even know, the things that Russia has been saying, that Putin has been saying about Ukraine. I was like, is that true? Is that not true? Is the things that we've been saying about Ukraine and Russia, is it true? Because all I've heard for the past 6 years is how bad Vladimir Putin is, and how he's trying to hinder our democracy, and how he tried to, apparently we had a puppet of Putin in our presidential palace. I'm trying to do the alliteration thing. And so I never know what to believe. I don't know what to believe. All I know is all of a sudden We have an entire Washington establishment telling us that we should be very angry with Putin and that we should be supporting Ukraine. Now, I get nervous anymore when an entire establishment starts telling me that, because I'm like, okay, what parts aren't they telling us? And look, I've never been a fan of Putin. I've always thought he was kind of an asshole. I think he's KGB. Anyone who's KGB certainly has ulterior motives, also wants the glories of the former Soviet Union, and I just think he's an asshole. But then I think also, wait a minute. Is Ukraine the good guys? Because, there's a heavy duty neo guy with the funny mustache party element in Ukraine that has been kind of, it's not like they don't like the guys with the 6-pointed star. It's not that they're not so much worried about them, but they don't like ethnic Russians. There's a kind of a ultra nationalist element that has the same little SSS symbols on their militia uniforms that the guy with the funny mustaches crew had. And that's not good either. It's like one form of the communist versus the other form of the communist, just like back in the day, back in the 30s, in a certain country a little bit south of Russia, southeast, I should say. So I'm like, good morning. Oh, salute to Canton Hotep. Good morning, my friend. So I'm like, are there good guys here? Because look, Putin said he's going in there because the Russian separatists, right? The Russian ethnic Russians, separatists, were being attacked by these I'm trying to avoid the word, but you know what I'm saying. And some of that is true. Okay. Now, is it the job of him to invade another country for it? I don't know. No, probably not. We don't want a war. And why Americans are getting all up in it, I don't know. That's your part of the world, and you guys need to figure that shit out. But we're supposed to be on the side of Ukraine because democracy, right? Well, remember, during the administration of Barack Obama, the government of Ukraine was kind of, I don't know if installed is word, because technically I suppose they had some kind of vote. But remember that the Ukrainian government was kind of pushed for by the Obama administration, right? It's still, there was kind of a coup of a sort in Ukraine, and the guys that the Americans, I'm not even necessarily the Obama administration, but the powers that control our White House, seemingly, got who they wanted in there, right? And then they got Zelensky in there after that, but still same crew, right? And that's kind of when the neo guy with the funny mustaches party people kind of started causing problems in eastern, southeastern Ukraine, right? They were kind of, killing people and shit. And so then, but that's not all. So first of all, so this is a government kind of, that they're talking about regime change in Russia right now too, which is hilarious. There's kind of a regime change during the Obama administration, and then, but wait, there's more. So that's one group that was kind of pushed in by the Americans, right? Right? Okay. So, hello, Renovacio, by the way. Anyone using Azov Battalion ultra-nationalist leanings to determine Ukraine as a Nazi regime either knows nothing and decided to listen and believe BS coming out of Putin's Kremlin. No. I'm not. Look, I'm not saying they're a Nazi regime. Okay, that's not what I'm saying, Renovacio. But what I'm saying is they're not necessarily good guys either. Okay? Now, and also, so look, and that's not BS coming out of Putin's Kremlin. That was long before Putin ever mentioned this. Okay, this is not new. No. I'm saying, listen to me, Renovaccio. I'm not saying that I'm not saying they're the Nazi types of the German regime. In fact, I specifically said they're not about the people with the 6 stars. They're about ethnic Russians, ultra nationalists. Okay, that's okay. So when I say neo-Nazi, I don't necessarily mean neo-Nazi. Doesn't necessarily mean they are actual Nazis of the Hitler type. Okay, that's not my point. All right. So now another issue. Now, for whatever reason, and I'm talking about our involvement in this region. Okay, our involvement in this region is what caused the rise of the ultra-nationalist parties in Ukraine, because we somehow got a government in there that we wanted when the Obama administration was in there. That's my point here. Okay, so and let's just say we put in a very corrupt government in Ukraine. Okay, with our help and our backing, right? Now, I also want to go back to the other side. Let us not forget. Let us not forget how Vladimir Putin came to power in Russia. We had a little bit of involvement in that too. Okay? We had a little bit of involvement in that too. And I brought this up because I found this fascinating, because remember, there's a woman who ran for president who tried to tie Vladimir Putin to our former president. Okay? Our former president. Okay? Now, how did... and actually, Putin does have sort of an unusual backing by a former president. But that wouldn't be the guy with the funny hair. Okay? It wasn't the guy with the funny hair. In fact, it was the guy married to the woman who ran against the guy with funny hair, and that would be none other than William Jefferson Clinton. Now, I found this is in the archive here. This is called the National Security Archive, and I found this fascinating. The highest level memcoms and cables document Putin's rise to power, Clinton library declassifications, plus archive lawsuit open verbatim Clinton, Putin, and Clinton Yeltsin conversations, U.S. emphasis on importance of transfer of power by ballot box gives way to merely endorsing peaceful transition as Yeltsin resigns and anoints Putin in 1999. Putin doesn't hate Azov because they are ultra-nationalists, basically extensions of the old Kun. They hate them because they held back his RF troop advances in DNR for 8 years, stabilized UKR lines. Now, but are there in fact ethnic Russians in those areas that may or may not have some loyalty to Russia? I get I know exactly what you're saying, Renovaccio, but I'm gonna get a little deeper than that in a minute. But I'm just saying the fact that both of these governments had some American backing at one time. One does now, one did it with one other time. And what's amazing to me, okay, Putin is using the same Nazi ever BS as the left here in the West, except the left is not supporting him right now. They're supporting this side that supposedly are ultra-nationalists, which in most cases, they hate anybody who are ultra-nationalist. Okay? Anyway, but back to Bill Clinton. So this is declassified this is from last year. Declassified highest level transcripts and diplomatic cables provide a new granular detail on the rise of power of Russian President Vladimir Putin 20 years ago. Much of it in his own words, as captured by American note-takers and those of his predecessor, Boris Yeltsin, according to the documentary publication today by the National Security Archive at George Washington University. The documents demonstrate how American rhetoric about the importance of elections as essential means for transfer of power gradually subsided during the fall of 1999, when Bill Clinton was president, into at least worst-case acceptance of Yeltsin's unconventional maneuvers for continuity that anointed Putin as his successor and protector. The documents include Russian President Yeltsin's telephone explanation to U.S. President Bill Clinton in September 1999 about the unexpected pick of the previously obscure Putin as prime minister and potential successor, a solid man who is kept well abreast of various subjects under his purview, quote-unquote, such as the intelligence services and the Kremlin Security Council. Yeltsin had fired 4 prime ministers in the previous 17 months, a process he described in his memoirs as prime ministerial poker. So the test for Putin, after his August 1999 election, was whether would catch on with the public enough to defend Yeltsin from his critics in the parliamentary elections of December 1999, and then ascend to the presidency, presumably through presidential elections scheduled for July 2000. Instead, Putin became acting president when Yeltsin resigned unexpectedly on New Year's Eve 1999. The documents published today include a transcript of Clinton's call to Yeltsin that evening and to the new President Putin the next morning. Yeltsin explains to Clinton in their phone call, see document 8, quote, "Now I've given him, Putin, 3 months according to the Constitution to work as acting president, and people will get used to him for these 3 months. I'm sure that he will be elected," end quote. By resigning, Yeltsin had effectively short-circuited the presidential election scheduled for July 2000 because the Constitution required elections within 90 days if there was an acting president, who now enjoyed the advantages of incumbency. Declassified State Department cables obtained through the National Security Archives lawsuit under the Freedom of Information Act explain how Yeltsin could be so sure of Putin's future electoral success. This is Russia, by the way. Let's see. UN Ambassador to Moscow, James Collins, reported back that Yeltsin's confidant and future son-in-law, Valentin Yumashev, had bragged about the administration's personnel across the country working for the Putin-supported Unity Bloc during the December parliamentary elections. Furthermore, Emergencies Minister Sergei Shoigu can use his staff located in every region to assist his bloc's electoral efforts, of course, in full compliance with Russian law. So they, let me just continue here. Most important was Putin's growing popularity as a result of his tough reaction to the September 1999 to the Chechen invasion of Dagestan and the terrorist apartment bombings in Moscow. President Clinton remarked at a second meeting with Prime Minister Putin at Oslo in November that the Russian military crackdown of Chechnya was playing well for you at home, but not internationally because of the losses of civilian lives. According to Matthew Evangelista, Putin's personal approval rating soared from 35% when Yeltsin appointed him in August to 65% in October as he escalated the war. So he became more popular in Russia, but the rest of the world's like, what you guys doing over there? Putin's deployment of his Chechnya-related popularity, together with his announced increases in pensions, made it possible that by higher oil prices combined to undercut the presumed frontrunners in the Duma elections in December 19th. Foreign observers had assumed that former Prime Minister Evgeny Primakov, a nationalist Yeltsin critic and veteran Soviet-era diplomat, would be the leading candidate in the presidential election scheduled for July 2000. But Yeltsin aides, like Foreign Minister Igor Ivanov, told their American partners Primakov did not have much of a political future. Ultimately, the anti-Yeltsin coalition amassed by Primakov and Moscow Mayor Yuri Luskov drew only 12% of the vote for parliament in December, while the Unity Coalition, quote-unquote, endorsed by Putin and organized by Shoigu, won twice as much through cooperation with the communist still the largest single party, Putin was even able to achieve a working majority in the Duma, which Yeltsin never had. This electoral success likely provided the final incentive for Yeltsin to decide on his New Year's Eve resignation. In Clinton's first face-to-face with Prime Minister Putin during the September Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation meeting with New Zealand, the American leader does not foresee the Yeltsin resignation gambit and instead emphasizes the ballot box and elections as the key. These elections and how they're conducted are extremely important, I told Boris this. He's the first elected leader of Russia, but also will be the first leader to peacefully transfer power through an election. That's a great thing. It's a great thing for a country. You've never done it before. I know it won't be the easiest thing, but it's extremely important. Clinton gave Auckland gives Putin a lecture on elections and a lesson in return. Clinton tells him, one thing that you have going for you is that you can try to show that there's no credible alternative to the path that you're on. If the opposition doesn't have a credible set of proposals that will help you, Putin demurs. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Russia does not have an established political system. People don't read programs. They look at the faces of leaders, regardless of what party they belong to, regardless of whether they have a program or not. In Clinton's last presidential meeting with Yeltsin, however, the American emphasis on elections was practically absent. The White House memcon of the Istanbul session from November 1999 shows Yeltsin veering wildly from bluster. Just give Europe to Russia to embrace. I've not yet ceased to believe you, and ends with Clinton saying, who will win the election? Yeltsin responds, Putin, of course. He will be the successor to Boris Yeltsin. Clinton does not reiterate the importance of elections. The State Department summary of the conversation, in stark contrast, claims that Clinton raised the issue of elections as key to Russia's transformation and got a commitment from Yeltsin for the scheduled presidential elections. No such language is in the memcon. By the time Putin becomes acting president, Clinton's emphasis on elections subsides even into more general appreciation of a peaceful transition. So there was a transition, but no election. And Putin's response are very, the American leader simply remarks that Yeltsin's resignation and Putin's response are very encouraging for the future of Russian democracy. And when Putin wins the March 2000 presidential election in the first round without a runoff, Clinton's phone call of congratulations calls the moment a really historic milestone for Russia. Now, it's worth noting that memcons and telecons like these may not exist for more recent head of state conversations. President Trump reportedly did not allow the creation of memcons for at least 5 of his conversations with Putin between 2017 and 2020. The National Security Archive, together with the Society for Historians of American Foreign Relations and the watchdog group Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, is currently in federal court seeking to enforce record laws against the White House and the State Department on the issue. So anyway, there are copies of these phone calls you can go look at, but so it's interesting that Yeltsin endorsed Putin, who Clinton said, hey, that's great. And it's fascinating that that's the same Vladimir Putin that in theory, or at least according to democratic lore, helped our own Donald J. Trump. Fascinating. Tsar Putin. Yeah, it's crazy. We need to reanimate Grammy Award winner Mikhail Gorbachev. Let him run the place again. I mean, Grammy Award winners are our betters, right? Well, certainly worked for Mr. Obama, President Obama, yes. The Grammy Award to President Obama was just an amazing feat. He was a long shot winner of that spoken word thing that they were talking about, and congratulations to him. So anyway, so as far as now, there's another issue too. Now, the very wrong, I don't know. I wish like I said, I'm not up on the politics of this region, but I know that there's also an issue. I don't think this is as I'm listening to other people, and I'm listening to a lot of different voices in this from very many perspectives because I don't know enough about this region, right? There was a little issue during the Obama administration where they seemed to allow the Russians go and take another portion of Ukraine that was former portion of Ukraine, known as Crimea, right? So Crimea, whenever I should show you a map here. Well, I'm not going to show you a map. Anyway, so Crimea is this little portion of Ukraine that's kind of in the south end. Ukraine's up here, and then the south, there's Crimea, right? And there are some rivers that flow into Crimea from the main part of Crimea. It's down. Isn't Crimea right on the Black Sea? I'm pretty sure. Here, let's look it up. Crimea. Let's just Crimea map. Let's put it on the map here. All right. So here's let's make this smaller and put it on the screen. I don't need this. Oh, here we go. Oh, dang. This zoom feature is really, really sensitive. All right. So this little section down here, this is a map of the region. Let's see, move this so you can see it. There, we'll set that. So this down here, this area right down here is Crimea. See this little almost peninsula type looking thing? It's kind of a peninsula, and this is Ukraine, and then Russia's over here. There's Moscow, Belarus, Moldova, Romania, so on and so forth, right? So Crimea, right here, and there's the Sea of Azov, right? That's where the Azov army gets their name. So this is that area that Russia said, that's ours, we're taking, and they had a little conflict over that, and now Russia controls that, right? Well, as you look at Crimea up close, you'll notice that there's very little peninsula. Most of their fresh water that goes into Crimea comes in through this little strait through here, right? This little piece of land, and they get a lot. Well, what happened is the Ukrainians made a dam here, somewhere along here, and basically cut off the water coming in through rivers. So Russia came in, and they first of all, they shouldn't have this region anyway. I mean, the way this region was transferred, you can't see what I'm doing. That's why. There's right here through here. There's some rivers that go in through here, and this is where they get a lot of their fresh water, right? And then this is the Black Sea around here. The Ukrainians, after Russia took this area, right? Is it the Crimea River? Crimea River. Oh, that's funny. Hi, Stephanie, by the way. Hi, why are you so angry? Good morning, Renovacio. And there's and Cool Frog. And I didn't say good morning to you guys yet, so I'm saying good morning now. So anyway, they cut off this water supply, right? And so Russia's been in here trying to get groundwater, doing all this stuff. And the water is there's millions of people in here, like 3 million people, I think, in this area. And they've dammed this river, this main river that goes into there. And so they've cut off a lot of the water here, right? But I'm not, Spin Korea has agreed to be on the Russian military installations. I'm sure you're correct. Okay. So the Ukrainian government said, well, we're going to dam the water here. And so now there's a big water problem. I kind of wonder, and I've heard someone else say this, so this isn't an original thought necessarily, but is part of this issue a war for water too? And we've always, there's always these like sci-fi or not, I don't know, it's futurism novels and things like that where there's going to be, oil is important, but water is more important. Because right now, this part of the world, this little peninsula right here, is struggling for water, and I wonder if it's much. Look, there's no justification, I don't think, to wage a war on Ukraine, but that's an interesting tidbit too that I'm starting to learn. So, like I said, I'm no I'm no expert on this part of the world at all, but there's a lot more going on, and I question why it's so important for us to take a side. Now I understand for how it serves as a great distraction for the current administration who needs distractions. But it's just weird when, like I said, when both parties start getting on this kick, I get nervous because we certainly did that with Iraq and Afghanistan, which I don't know if, maybe we should have done some of it, but some we shouldn't have. And I'm not convinced. Let's put it this way. I'm not convinced that it's time to start moving our troops in the area. I'm not there yet. And maybe that, call me, I don't know, call me a Chamberlain. I'm part of that. Oh, what the fuck was that? Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about at least the news that we're getting from our media. And we'll start with this one. As soon as I move the screen correctly. It's from the New York Post. Russia escalates shelling as massive 40-mile convoy heads towards Kyiv. Russia forces stop their offensive early Tuesday with bombs raining down on Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, as a 40-mile long convoy of tanks and other military equipment forges forward towards Kyiv. Daylight rising again over Ukraine. Kyiv still stands. Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky said around 6:30 a.m. local time Tuesday, after another night of heavy bombings. The warriors continue to stand for their country and freedom. Glory Ukraine. That's what he's saying. By 7 a.m., air sirens sounded again. And Zelensky said he believes Russia is trying to force his country to surrender by ramping up the shelling across Ukraine after a peace summit between two nations in Belarus on Monday did not lead to an immediate ceasefire. Without disclosing details of the discussions, Zelensky said Ukraine would not make concessions when one side is hitting each other with rocket artillery. Top aide to Russian President Vladimir Putin and head of the Russian delegation, Vladimir Medinsky, said the two warring nations spoke 5 hours Monday. Warring nation. This is so weird. Okay, interesting. It seems like the warring nations is because one attacked the other. So, and look, like I said, I'm not up on the geopolitics of this region. I just know what I'm seeing. And then I see what other people are saying. I kind of am trying to meld this all together, going, why are we making this our problem? And maybe we should. It depends on how, and not that I think that Russia should take Ukraine. I don't. It's funny how it happened 1 year into this administration. That, don't forget, it didn't happen during the Putin puppet years. Anyway, he said the two warring nations spoke for 5 hours Monday. Medinsky claimed the countries found certain points on which common positions could be foreseen, and discussions would continue in the coming days. So anyway, there's more details about attacks and things like that, but that's kind of the very, very Reader's Digest version. And then this is interesting because I don't know if I can see the video on this one. Hang on. Speaking of Russian President Vladimir Putin's rhetoric saying he would put Russia's nuclear forces on alert, Ukraine's ambassador to the United Nations, Sergei Kislitskaya, snapped in a reference to the suicide of Nazi leader Adolf Hitler, saying if he wants to kill himself, he doesn't need to use the nuclear arsenal. He has to do what the guy in Berlin did in the bunker in May 1945, basically telling Putin to kill himself. Bear in mind, these are the Russians. The official Kremlin position is that Russia has never invaded any country ever in its history, including Ukraine now. Yeah, no, I know. I know. And look, I wish I lived in a country that could that wasn't a kettle or the pot or whichever one, because some of our ill-advised invasions of country, which we didn't call invasions, we're necessarily fighting for democracy. That's, you know what I mean? Like I get the whole idea that our defense of Ukraine, which I don't, it's not that I don't think we should have a defense Ukraine in in multiple ways because of this. But my point is, when I hear people saying, well, we must preserve democracy. Well, is Ukraine really a democracy? Or is it, because remember, it's kind of a democracy, kind of installed democracy in some ways. And this is not, let's take the Russians completely out of this, because the Russians want to install their version of a government in Ukraine that would be partial to them. I understand that. Russia's not a good actor in this. I'm not ever going to claim that. What I'm saying is, we kind of pushed them into something, and we got the leaders we want, and I don't know, as if we never meddled in anyone's elections ever, which we sometimes bragged about it. So anyway, here's the Ukrainian ambassador. Let's see, in his own words, maybe.
Or even higher, following Putin's order to put and alert Russian nuclear forces. What a madness. If he wants to kill himself, he doesn't need to use nuclear arsenal. He has to do what the guy in Berlin did in a bunker in May 1945.
So anyway,
or even higher.
So anyway, that's the Ukrainian bastard. You know how that works in social media when you just say, tell someone to go kill yourself. That's kind of what he just did. He did it right in front of the UN. Say, why don't you go kill yourself? You want to kill yourself? Go kill yourself. So anyway, I don't know why I'm finding humor in that. I just am. I just am. So anyway, there's several articles that I'm not going to go through, but just so you get the idea based on headlines, DC's foreign policy experts are now demanding a regime change for Russia. We talked about that yesterday, which I found humorous. There we go with regime change again. Does that mean we should go to war for a regime change in Russia? That's weird, kind of like the regime change calls in Afghanistan and Iraq, which have worked out marvelously. Benjamin Witt's regime change in Russia. We saw this yesterday. So I was ahead of the other people talking about this. This is hilarious. So anyway, you can look at that. Also, there's Andrew Breitbart himself. Ukraine claims that over 5,000 Russians have been killed so far. Now, there's a bit of a propaganda war going on here too. Like the people on the island that told the Russian ship to go fuck yourself. That turned out to be not true, but I understand it. I mean, information is often as big a part of a war as everything else. So I don't know. Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar claimed on Monday that roughly 5,300 Russian troops have been killed since the Russian assault began on February 4th. Ukraine Forum News Service translated Maliar's Facebook post claiming a high number of Russian casualties, plus Russia's loss of 29 combat aircraft, 29 helicopters, 191 tanks, 816 armored fighting vehicles, and 74 artillery pieces, among other equipment captured or destroyed. Maliar conceded these estimates were approximate and difficult to verify while combat is still ongoing. She said her ministry is receiving data from the battlefield the next day and sometimes a day later. Armed Forces in Ukraine made similar claim of casualties and equipment destroyed on Twitter, presumably relying on the same data as the Deputy Defense Minister. Kharkiv Mayor Ole Senegabov, I'm sorry I'm butchering these names, it's not my native language, claimed on Sunday night that the Ukrainian forces repelled a major offensive and completely wiped out an invading force, capturing dozens of Russian troops and equipment. Control of Kharkiv is completely ours after Ukrainian forces completed a full clearing of the city of the enemy, said Senegabov. Russian military made its first admission of casualties on Sunday, although it did not offer any numbers of dead and wounded or an inventory of equipment captured or destroyed by the Ukrainians. So I'm happy that the Ukrainians are repelling this in places. I worry that the Russians aren't necessarily going in full force, although now this 4-mile caravan of equipment and people moving towards Kyiv makes me worried. It's a fucked up situation, people. Just as the Russians didn't. You've called every U.S. Well, right about you probably have. I'm absolutely certain you've called every U.S. invasion an invasion. The problem is we haven't as a nation. I mean, or at least we haven't called it that, even when they have been. And that's what I'm saying. It's this is all messed up. Please link me that article in the chat. The one I'm at, which one? The Ukraine claims over 5,000 killed so far, Renee? I'm not sure which one. Funny, they just bombed where he works 7 hours ago. Yeah, I'm not sure. It will be in every article that I go through, and I think that's what you're asking for, Renee. Every article that I go through will be in a single link in the description down below at the end of the show. I always, anything you want to come back and look at, I update that every day during the outro. And so to make sure that you can find anything I talked about. All right. I'm just going to keep going because I got a whole bunch I'm going through here. Mostly just skimming headlines today. Now, China was content to leak U.S. intel to Russia. Its tune has suddenly changed. China is changing its tune on the Ukraine conflict after months of refusing to condemn Russian military buildup and even going so far as to leak U.S. intelligence to the Kremlin. China initially bolstered Russia's claim ahead of Russian President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine, suggesting that the USA was to blame for stirring up a conflict between Russia and Ukraine. U.S. officials met at least 6 times with Chinese counterparts in recent months to share intelligence about Russia's military buildup around Ukraine and urged their governments to dissuade Putin from invading. Not only did the Chinese reject these pleas, they went so far as to leak intelligence to the Russian government. Now, they've proven more willing to criticize Russia as Putin's invasion has slowed. However, Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesman Wang Wenbin offered the first shift away from solidarity with Putin on Monday, urging Russia and Ukraine to end the conflict through diplomacy. So China's kind of changed their tune. No country can, quote, recklessly harm the sovereignty and security of other countries out of seeking its own absolute military superiority and absolute security, Wang stated. Chinese position on Ukraine conflict gets sharper. MOFA spokesman Wenbin sent a message to Russia. No actor should recklessly harm the sovereignty and security of other countries. So that's an interesting change because there was always this idea that China and Russia were getting closer and closer and closer. But China seems to think, this could fuck up stability. This is fucking up world markets, and China is very dependent on world markets, and knowing where the money comes from in China, States, who buys their shit, the United States mostly, and this is not good. So anyway, media representatives pressed Wang to clarify China's stance on the Ukrainian government during a Monday event. Quote, does China consider the Ukrainian government to be a legitimate government? If so, does China call on Russia to respect the democratically elected government of Ukraine? A reporter asked. Quote, is the answer, the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries should be respected and safeguarded. The purpose and principles of the UN Charter should be jointly upheld, Wang responded. So I think that's good news that China's saying, hey, yo, guys, hello, Putin. Yeah, nah. Can we stop that shit? Start talking. Let's, so that's good. That makes me hopeful a little bit. What about the MP saying that Ukraine is fighting for the new world order? I didn't hear that one. Why are you saying it? Yeah, India wants it too. Of course, there's a bunch of ethnic Russians. When you wipe out 4 million ethnic Ukrainians during the Holodomor, then replace them. I believe Ukraine should deport the unpatriotic ethnic Russians. That's interesting too. That's interesting too. It's because it is Ukrainian land, right? Or at least traditionally was. That's what the line said, and so. Oh boy. See, like I said, me and I don't know enough about this region. I'm just reporting what I'm reading. Anyway, now, moving on. Marco Rubio has chimed in. The ever interesting Marco Rubio. And he says, wish I could share more. Intelligence Committee Marco Rubio warns something is off with Putin. Now, this is kind of a shot chaser section of the show today, because this is something that Marco Rubio is saying, okay? Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who serves as vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, warned Friday that something is off with Russian President Vladimir Putin, whom Rubio says has become even more dangerous than in past years. You mean more dangerous than during the Trump administration when he tried to subvert a democracy? A democracy? Putin's always been dangerous. He's former KGB. He's always dangerous. Anyway, Rubio added that he wishes he could share more, seemingly suggesting he's seen classified intelligence about the Russian leader. I don't know. I wish I could share more, but for now I can say it's pretty obvious to many that something is off with Putin. Yeah, he's trying to take over another country. Rubio posted on Twitter, he has always been a killer, but his problem is now different and significant. It would be a mistake to assume this Putin would react the same way he would have 5 years ago. Maybe he has a death complex. I don't know. Dog Father 76 is in the house. Good to see you. Okay, so, and then in a more recent post, Rubio has emphasized how much Putin values his perceived image of strength. This is the most dangerous moment in 60 years. Putin is facing a humiliating military fiasco. He has created extraordinary consequences on Russia's economy and people that will not be easy to reverse. And his only option is to reset this imbalance or catastrophic ones. Well, oh boy. Yeah, what is the oil and natural gas we say? Didn't we put some kind of a sanction on Russian vodka, but not Russian oil? Someone said that yesterday. I can't remember who, but that's strange. Look, the problem is you put the sanction on Russian oil and then you exacerbate the problem with oil prices, right? It's a nasty little economic circle we all play in. So anyway, so Rubio's hinting that something may be off about Putin, right? Well, then the chaser on that is the dangers of it's hazardous to ascribe actions that we do not like to madness. And this, I'll just get to the beginning of this so you can check it out yourself. When I watched Vladimir Putin with what the Russians so graphically call his 10 eyes justify his invasion of Ukraine, I thought, as did many others, that he looked a little deranged. Denazification indeed. He had failed to appreciate that Ukraine, not noted throughout its history for its philo-Semitism, had selected a Jewish president, and that by a large majority, thereby suggesting a major cultural shift in the country. It then occurred to me that Putin looked rather puffy in the face, and I wondered whether he could be taking steroids. The drugs are noted for their numerous side effects, not at least of which being psychological changes such as paranoia and elevation of depression and mood. Then there was the question, of course, as to why Putin would be taking them. Cancer, perhaps? a lymphoma. This brought to mind Evelyn Waugh's somewhat uncharitable remark when Randolph Churchill underwent surgery for cancer. That it was characteristic of modern medicine to have removed the only part of him that was not malignant. If Putin were taking steroids, his extreme and seemingly bizarre anxiety about contracting stupid 19 would be explained. Both the underlying conditions of cancer itself and the drug would have made him vulnerable to such anxiety, and the man who once liked to present himself as the Russian Crocodile Dundee, bare-chested wrestling bears and the like, has undergone a gestalt switch. Invulnerability has been replaced by its opposite. Unseen danger with every breath. It is hazardous, however, to ascribe actions that we do not like to madness. This is for two reasons. First, the diagnosis may be wrong. The apparently mad may be in fact sane. And second, madness can have its own irrationality. Indeed, the mad of strong character can often take others along with them. They can persuade others that their paranoid view of the world is correct. This is especially so when they possess levers of power over people of lesser character than themselves. People can be mad and realistic at the same time. Their paranoia has a self-fulfilling quality. If you behave as if people were against you, people will soon begin to behave as if they were against you. The origins of the problem become lost in the vicious circle of historical recrimination. But, given a paranoid premise, the mad can proceed rationally. If you think your food is being poisoned, it is perfectly sensible to try it out first on the cat. The power of paranoid over their followers, however, is fragile, as is that of those who rule principally by fear, separated for a time from contact with the worldview of their leader, or if the hold of fear is suddenly broken, the power collapses. The madness of the madman is suddenly revealed. The fearful suddenly realize that it takes two to be ruled by fear. The mad or fear-instilling megalomaniac then lashes out, for he knows that, like the late Nikolai Cuscu, he is either powerful or dead. I'm not sure why that's the chaser, but I just found it weird. Anyway, other news, ruble takes a hit. It hits a record low as the Russian sanctions take hold, so that's not good for Russia. Maybe they'll have to rethink some things. The Russian ruble crashed amid a public frenzy to pull out cash out of bank accounts and money, instantly knocking almost 30% off the value of the currency that was not in good shape to begin with. CNBC spotted rubles trading at 119 to the dollar in offshore markets early Monday morning, down from 84 to the dollar on Sunday, the biggest single-day drop on record for Russian currency. This might be a good time to buy Russian currency. Just saying, that's kind of not patriotic, but, you know, what goes down in financial markets often comes back up, especially currency. Well, maybe it never come back to that. That may not be. Don't listen to me. It's more like, what goes up must come down. Spinning wheel, got to go round. That was my coffee cup version of a cowbell. Anyway, Russia's central bank responded by freezing the Russian stock and derivatives markets, forbidding brokers to fulfill sell orders from foreigners, ordering Russian companies to sell off 80% of their foreign currency reserves, and freezing about 8.78 billion in rubles held by local bank reserves. Because the last 3,000 sanctions made them do something. I know the sanctions. Does he care? Does he care? I mean, yes, this will hurt Russians, and a whole bunch of European countries have closed their airspace to Russian airlines. Damn, what the fuck was that? Oh, that's something about Canada. Anyway, moving on. Russian space. Oh, this one's crazy. Now this is nuts. So the Russian space chief has threatened to crash the International space station into the U.S. or Europe. This is crazy. Russia is certainly getting very good at making threats. Today, President Vladimir Putin threatened nuclear war or something. He put Russia's nuclear forces on high alert, according to media reports. Now, Dmitry Rogozin, the Director General of Russia's space program, Roscosmos, tweeted out a threat to the International Space Station, saying that U.S. and NATO sanctions could destroy our cooperation on the International Space Station. He also suggested that the ISS, the International Space Station, could crash into the United States or Europe. There are currently 4 NASA astronauts, 2 Russian cosmonauts, and 1 European astronaut on board the space station. According to this is CNN, Biden further stated that the sanctions will degrade Russia airspace, including their space program. In a response, Rogozin said on Twitter, "If you block cooperation with us, who will save the International Space Station from an uncontrolled deorbit and fall into the United States or Europe or India?" Because it doesn't fly over Russia, but it flies kind of, it's a weird little, anyway, who knows. He added, there is also the option of dropping a 500-ton structure in India and China. Do you want to threaten them with such a prospect? The International Space Station does not fly over Russia, so all the risks are yours. Are you ready for them? Roskin also mentioned that the International Space Station's location, orbit, and space are controlled by Russian Progress MS cargo ships. According to the European Space Agency, a Russian segment of the International Space Station is responsible for guidance, navigation, and control of the entire complex, and Russia's Progress cargo ships occasionally give the International Space Station a boost into higher orbits when necessary. So that's an interesting threat. Maybe it'll land in a farm field in Kansas. I don't know. I would think that something like that crashing into the earth would cause some big problems. Who knows? All right. Let's see. Oh, now this is interesting. This is the editorial from the New York Post. Not the only person making this idea solid, but remember when Biden kind of put the brakes on United States oil production because we were energy independent prior to Biden coming in office, and I don't know what exactly he did, but now we're again importing Russian oil. Well, and also the price of oil keeps going up. It's hitting record highs. Gas prices going up again. We're going to see $5 gallon gas everywhere in the country pretty soon if we don't fix something here. Anyway, free world financial sanctions are hitting Russia hard, but the best long-term way to pull Vladimir Putin's teeth remains more rational energy policies in the United States and across the West. The ruble tanked on Monday, and Russia's stock market didn't even open, all in reaction to far tougher sanctions the West announced Sunday. Drastic measures inspired by the brutality of Putin's invasion and Ukraine's heroic resistance. Yet, it's not enough. Putin's regime gets much of its wealth and funds its militaries from energy sales, and he uses energy as a weapon, blackmailing Europe in particular. No less than Germany's Social Democratic leader Olaf Scholz is facing these facts. In his stunning speech Sunday, he vowed to eliminate our dependence on imports from individual energy suppliers. Germany still aims to be carbon neutral by 2045, but Scholz committed to building up a reserve of coal and gas and constructing 2 new liquid natural gas terminals to allow imports. Now, it's funny because there was a president recently that we had in the United States that was saying that this would be a good idea for Germany to start doing shit like this. And boy, oh boy, did they just keep going along with that old Nord Stream pipeline, because that was the future of Germany's energy until they could be energy neutral or carbon neutral, whatever the hell it is. And, they've kind of backed off on that Nord Stream pipeline during that guy with the funny hair, and he was going to bring in more natural gas because the United States is like the Saudi Arabia of natural gas, and also gas bags. But anyway, and it's just funny. Now they're saying they want to construct two new liquid natural gas terminals to allow imports. Well, there you go. But in order to do that, they would have to well, the Saudi Arabia of natural gas would have to start producing again. Here, but America needs to do its part. That means abandoning Democratic short-sighted efforts to strangle the U.S. energy sector, which is producing 1.2 million fewer barrels a day in oil than it did at its peak under the last president. As Steve Moore notes for the Post, with oil at $100 a barrel, that's $120 million lost U.S. income every day. $120 million every day. Now, this is one of those points when oil is this high. It also makes, it certainly makes certain forms of fracking make more sense. Now, there's an interesting thing I saw today because Joe Manchin was trending. Let me see if I even kept that one open. Let's see. No, that's Nancy Pelosi. To hell with her. Joe Manchin was trending today. Let me see if I can find it. Is he still trending? He was this morning. Okay, let's go. Joe Manchin. I'll just look it up. Joe Manchin. 530 tweets in the last hour about Joe Manchin. So here's what Joe Manchin said today. We produce energy cleaner than anybody in the world, Senator Joe Manchin says, adding that he wanted the U.S. administration to encourage more domestic energy production. We're buying 650,000 barrels a day from Russia. It's ridiculous, totally ridiculous. So he called for, here's the Bloomberg article on that. I'll have that in the tab below. Oh, that's not it. Is it part of this? Apparently they put the wrong article in that. Bloomberg, Manchin calls for U.S. energy projection. Oh, and Ukraine update. Okay. Anyway, it's in that article, but here, he's making news because he's well, he's not wrong, is he? Because what did we do now? No labels in a private meeting with Joe Manchin, audio of which was obtained by Hampton, pledged to spend millions of supporting Debs who killed Build Back Better. Okay, I don't care about that. Anyway, he said that we should be upping our energy production. Well, duh. This might be a good time to do it because otherwise you're just hurting American business. Just saying. All right, let's see. I'm going to fly through the rest of this with 10 minutes. Like, oh, here's another one, though. Here's another person who says the guy with the funny hair was right. Well, he didn't say it completely, but Romney said Biden's mistake was continuing. Wait, Biden's mistake was continuing policy of prior administrations not to provide defensive weapons Ukraine needed. Oh. But wait. You got to read between the lines here. Listen to this. It was a mistake for President Biden to rule out U.S. troops on the ground in Ukraine instead of using strategic ambiguity because the U.S. didn't have the kind of troop strength and material of war in the region to be a serious threat at that point, Senator Mitt Romney said on this Sunday. Well, there really wouldn't have been an ambiguity. We don't have the kind of troop strength and material of war in the region to be a serious threat at that point. Look, the Biden administration has done some things very well and some things not very well. Now, remember, Romney has to praise the Biden administration, the establishment guy, because he can't be seen praising Trump because he is kind of one of those anti-Trump guys. But the not so well side is they continued the policy of prior administrations not to provide the defensive weapons Ukraine needed. That was the mistake, he told CNN's the State of the Union. Now, which prior administrations might he be talking about? Certainly, it wasn't the prior administration of the guy with the funny hair, because he was providing defensive weapons to Ukraine. Oh, perhaps it was the prior administration that was very adamant about not supplying weapons, but only MREs, meals and things like that. Okay, so the positive thing was sharing our intelligence with our allies and combining our efforts with our allies. Look, we used to be 40% of the world's economy. Today, we're about half that. And so for us to have the kind of economic clout we used to have back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, we really do need to combine with our allies. And that's something President Biden has done extraordinarily well. Has he now? Okay. Ukrainian President Zelensky announced that the Russians and Ukraine plan to meet at the border of Belarus, blah, 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 blah. As for prospects of discussions on the border, look, I hope and I believe that Putin may well finally recognize that he made a huge error, that he was badly miscalculated on how hard the people of Ukraine would fight and the nature of the world's response, he said. So anyway, I still have to laugh. Okay, there's a lot more here. But the part where he says, the not so well side is they continued the policy of prior administrations not to provide the defensive weapons Ukraine needed. Certainly it wasn't the immediate prior administration, was it? That's hilarious. Anyway. Biden says, don't worry about a nuclear war. There you go. That's the time to start worrying. I guess we'll find out in the State of the Union. By the way, I'm considering live streaming during the State of the Union tonight. I don't know if that's, it's likely. It's not too late my bedtime, and I actually want to stay up and watch it. I figure if I'm going to watch it and react and laugh at it, I can do it while it's actually going on. So we'll see. I'm sincerely considering that. Maybe even bringing some guests on to come laugh with me. We'll see if anyone else is thinking about doing that, and I'll put some kind of a notification on Twitter. Anyway, Biden says, don't worry about nuclear war. Holy shit. I'm not going to read it, but yeah, start worrying. Now, Russia apparently promotes an Israel lobby to defend. Israel lobby author to defend the invasion of Ukraine. Interesting. Russian Foreign Ministry is promoting an anti-Israel author to justify the invasion of Ukraine. Moscow's chief propaganda arm on Monday tweeted an article by American author John Mearsheimer, who penned the book The Israel Lobby and U.S. Foreign Policy. The book accuses pro-Israel advocates in America of manipulating the American foreign policy establishment, a claim that was widely discredited as an anti-Semitic canard. Russia's foreign ministry promoted the 2014 article Mearsheimer titled Why the Ukraine Crisis is the West's Fault. The article argues that Western nations are responsible for creating a Ukraine that opposes Russian influence and that this is responsible for Moscow's interference in the country. This article attempts to justify Russian war maneuvers in Ukraine as is currently taking place. Well, that's Ukraine gets to decide who their influences are, and it's I guess sort of. Certainly, economic pressure can come from many directions. But just that's an interesting article there. The rest on the Ukraine, one called Putin Comes to Cancel the Comedian. This one, Why Russia's Forgotten. Here, you can see it. Russia's forgotten the hard lessons learned from invading Finland. That was in the 30s, I think. Yeah, November 1939. Today in Ukraine, it's become clear that those lessons didn't stick, at least not among Russian decision makers. Well, you try to repeat history. In the winter of 1939, Russia, having just conquered half of Poland, after Germany had already knocked out the country out of the war, decided war was good business, so they invaded Finland. In Poland, the Soviets retook land that had been under the control of Tsarist Russia for 2 centuries before it was divided away from Russia at the Treaty of Versailles. Repeating the strategy on November 30th, 1939, Russia attacked Finland, intending to recover land that had also been part of the Tsarist Russia before Versailles. Like Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, Finland was a Baltic state that had existed for centuries before becoming a Tsarist vassal state. But unlike Poland, Finland had a strong army which had not been defeated in battle. In the Kremlin, the Soviets decided the time was right to take that territory back, thinking it would be another piece of cake, like Poland had been 2 months earlier. Yeah, that didn't work out so well for Russia. So you read the rest of that one. Then Biden lost in the fog of war. We'll find out in the State of the Union. And also this one from the American Spectator. Russia's invasion was predictable and logical during Biden's watch. Because he's not scary like Trump was. Again, these are articles you can read on your own. And then Ukraine crushes 3 great myths about Russia. I'm saying the jury's out on that one. Let's see, what else did I pull up here? Oh, now in our own democracy, in the United States, Humvees are patrolling the U.S. Capitol as new fences go up ahead of Biden's State of the Union address. So they're worried about another insurrection, I guess. I don't know. With just 24 hours to go before President Joe Biden's State of the Union address, because the truckers are coming. I don't know how many truckers are actually going to D.C. I've seen a few videos and or pictures of caravans coming to DC. I don't know if they're actually coming, because what's happening is a lot of these mandate things, they're going away in most of these states. And so I don't know. It's kind of late for it, but who knows? 24 hours before President Joe Biden's State of the Union address to Congress, the National Guard can be seen driving around in Humvees in the nation's capital, and the U.S. Capitol building has been fenced off. Capitol Police Chief Thomas Manger released a statement Sunday announcing the plan to put a fence up around the Capitol before the State of the Union address had been approved, and mentioning he requested help from the National Guard. The Pentagon authorized 700 National Guardsmen on Tuesday to deploy to D.C., citing the trucker convoys that are reportedly on their way to D.C. to protest Biden's COVID-19 vaccine mandates. After the January 6th Capitol riot, there were National Guard troops on the ground for weeks. There was fencing and razor wire installed around the complex for the Capitol riot. Or after the Capitol riot, where acts of vandalism and violence postponed the Electoral College certification process and forced members of Congress to evacuate the building and finish their job by midnight. A fence has now been put back for security reasons. Well, whatever. That's going on there. Now, let me go back since I'm running out of time, because there's one little interesting tidbit that I wanted to show you. Real quick, let me do a couple more thank yous here. Let me real quick. Thank you, Somnambule Nation and Mitch the Ripper for retweeting my tweets of the show. And I appreciate that. And then I got a message here. Who's this message from? Oh. Wait, I'm on the wrong one. Oh, yes, I know that there was the bomb. There was a video of the bomb hitting in Central Square. I'm not going to show that, but I'll have a link to it. Maybe. Okay, I'll have a link to it in the description down below. I'll put that in there. All right, but there's something I want to show you, because Democrats are very, very, very excited about this. And I have questions. Okay. The House of Representatives has passed a bill. And I guess it's one that I should be super excited about it, right? I should be super excited about this bill that they just passed that's going to go on to the Senate, probably to be put into law or whatever. They already took the header off of it. The United States Congress has passed an anti-lynching bill in the House of Representatives. What was the I think the vote was 400 and what was it? 400 and some to 3. I can't even find it now. And it's really funny that here it is right here. The House of Representatives passes the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act, which would make lynching a federal hate crime in a 422 to 3 vote. Now, there's 3 Republicans who voted against it. One of them was Thomas Massey, who explained it. Andrew Clyde, a Republican of Georgia, Thomas Massey, Republican of Kentucky, and Chip Roy, Republican of Texas. And 3 Republicans voted against the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill tonight in the House, which makes lynching a hate crime. Now, here's Thomas Massey explaining why he voted against this bill. Okay, and he's getting shit for this, but here it is. Thomas Massey explains. Here are the reasons I voted no on the Anti-Lynching Act last Congress and why I voted no tonight. Number 1, the Constitution specifies only a handful of federal crimes and leaves the rest to individual states to prosecute. Now, what's interesting is I'm pretty confident lynching is illegal in every state. It's a murder. Okay, it's illegal in every state. So this symbolism of this, But anyway, let me stick with what he's saying here. Number 2, excuse me, the bill expands current federal hate crime laws. A crime is a crime, and all victims deserve equal justice. Adding enhanced penalties for their hate tends to endanger other liberties such as freedom of speech. I agree. Number 3, lynching a person is already illegal in every state. Passing this legislation falsely implies that lynching someone does not already constitute a criminal activity. And number 4, the bill creates another federal crime of conspiracy, which I am concerned could be enforced overbroadly on people who are not perpetrators of a crime. So, now, this is fascinating. There are people asking this stupid question. Having the states where lynching is popular... Wait, you started the sentence haven't the states where lynching is popular? Please, name the state where lynching is popular in current year. Haven't the states where lynching is popular proven time and time and again that they are unwilling or unable to prosecute this particular crime? The fuck are you talking about? A crime committed out of hatred should not be treated as an ordinary similar crime without race in play. Leave out the race elevation of crimes. We reduce their severity. No, they wouldn't. Somebody's still dead. What are you talking about? Gee, I wonder why a document written in the 1700s didn't specify lynching as a federal crime. Dumbass, because states do criminal crimes, like crimes of, oh my God. These people are stupid. This one, so you're in favor of lynching. Oh my God, no. But this is one of those things. It's now he has a, now, I'm going to scroll up here a little bit. Just go back to the top of this, where Jeff Charles, who is, I enjoy reading him and watching his YouTube channel. If you don't know who this is Jeff on the right. Most of the people pretending anti-lynching legislation will safeguard black lives are the same ones who celebrate cost-prohibitive gun control laws that disproportionately make it more difficult for black people to obtain and possess firearms to protect themselves. And this person says, have you read the law yet? I haven't. What's your opinion? I read the 2020 law. Shit was vague. Yeah. And it's just, this is just a game. This is just a game Democrats are playing. I don't know. Anyway, there are people just, anyway. Let's see. Let's see. Our friend Fu wrote an article here. Thomas Massey drops fact checks or drops blue checks. Let's see this. We'll finish with this because I'm late. I'm really late. Let me finish with this. And I got a super chat. Thank you, Tyler Alexander. We'll get there. Cry more. Thomas Massey explains in brutal factual thread why he voted against Democrats trying once again to make lynching a hate crime. Okay, I think it's the same thread. So yeah, here are the reasons I've voted against this. What it really does is give Democrats a lame as fuck talking point, claiming Republicans don't think lynching is a hate crime. That's why they keep trying to pass it now. Too bad they weren't on board with passing it over 100 years ago when Republicans tried to get it done. No, really. This is from, as the new year 1900 opened up, Representative George Henry White, Republican North Carolina, 2nd District, faced a stark dilemma. During 1899, he had carefully attempted to repair his image among North Carolina Democrats by adroitly hewing a moderate position on immigration by African Americans, emigration as in leaving, and hoping to head off supporters of a disenfranchised amendment to the state constitution now due to vote for in August. Yet he irrevocably committed to introducing his carefully crafted bill, making lynching a federal offense punishable by death. He had worked feverishly on the proposed language for months with considerable help. It was certain to be unpopular among Democrats in the Old South. He must have known the firestorm of controversy his bill would ignite in the South, one probably ending his political career, even his professional one, in North Carolina. As the nation's only African American member of Congress, he was nonetheless prepared to take the risk. So anyway, stupid. It's just, again, it's a game they play. And by the way, here's, let me see if I can find Nancy Pelosi on this. Here we go. Nancy Pelosi. Nearly 7 decades later, the brutal murder of Emmett Till is forever seared in our collective memory. Sadly, hateful attacks are not yet a relic of the past. That is why House Democrats are empowering our legal system with more tools to bring perpetrators to justice. House Democrats will not rest until we guarantee the inalienable rights of every American. We now call on the Senate to take immediate action and send this bill to the President's desk. Read my full statement here. I'm not going to read it. I don't care. It's an amazing exercise in virtue signaling, and it doesn't make sense from a legal constitutional standpoint. But USA Today is happy. The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act would allow crimes to be prosecuted as a lynching if someone is killed or injured in the commission of a hate crime. Interesting. It's not just white people saying this is kind of stupid. Like Jeff Charles is black, but there's a lot of people out there putting Nazi signs on these 3 congressmen. Anyone surprised that a guy that has his family do a picture like this on Christmas would vote against an anti-lynching bill twice? And there it is right there. These 3 maggot mental defectives that voted against the House's Emmett Till's anti-lynching bill, they are Chip Roy, Thomas Massey, and Andrew Clyde. Fortunately, Alder Rain made sure we know who they really are. I never thought of putting a swastika on somebody's head in a picture. That's so edgy. Anyway, thank you again, everybody, for coming today. Before we go, I do have one sponsor that I need to acknowledge here, and let's get some special music for the sponsor. It's going to be a little bit, house-like music. We're going to turn this down, though, so it's not too loud right off the bat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Thank you, Tyre Alexander, for sponsoring the show today. And Spire Alexander, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar Sponsor of the Day. Today's sponsor is Biden. Biden wants to announce his new book, Joe Sue's Art of Surrender. From his text, we will learn how to botch a military withdrawal, insult and alienate your allies, empower your enemies, and to make a nation look like a fool. Biden found tonight at the State of the Union. All right, thank you, Tyre Alexander, for sponsoring the show. As usual, your ads are fantastic. And ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say, it's time to go. It's been a pleasure being your host today. Please, if you haven't done so already, hit the like button sometime during the show. And if you would be so kind, share the stream before, during, after. Watchers of the replay, put a comment in the comment section so I know you dropped by. And thank you for our sponsor today, Tyre Alexander, aka the sponsor is Biden. And thanks for people who've been able to do that throughout the year. It helps a lot, and I appreciate it. So, and you can do it 24 hours a day at Streamlabs, PDawgKnight.live, or Venmo or Cashapp, and SuperChats and Streamlabs during the show. I will read what you write, as you have noticed before. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go. Thanks for being here. We'll be back tomorrow with probably more talk about the State of the Union, but I am probably going to stream live reaction to the State of the Union tonight. If I can get anyone to join me, I will do that too. So let's see how that goes. And that's it for today. I gotta go. My name is Dawg Knight. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.